And welcome back to Riding in the Weeds. It has been a moment, and we are coming in today to let you know that we are still here. We didn't disappear off the face of the earth. We're just talking about what we're going to do going forward, as well as our topic today is a little bit of honesty and how much honesty is too much, how much is too little, and how much does it help? This podcast is all about dealing with the bumps in the road, right? When you get stuck and you feel all alone and you feel like you're the only one going through it. And it doesn't matter how much you doom scroll on Facebook, because sometimes Facebook will show you that, look, there's the stars and this is what's happening with the moon and the eclipses, and that can ground you and be like, oh, okay, it's not just me, it's the energetics. But it can also feed you a feed full of people that are telling you how to lose weight over 40 and what you should and shouldn't be doing. And if you're doing this, you're doing it wrong, and you're wrong, wrong, wrong. And all of those people are perfect. None of those people ever eat chocolate for dinner. And like influencers, right? We live in this world that makes you question whether you're the only one that isn't quite getting it right. And we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about what our theme is going forward and how we can serve our audience. And the hope is that, you know, we can get some feedback at the same time. So our audience is anybody who gets stuck and feels like sometimes life is a little bumpy and they're not quite sure how to get out of their own way, how to keep moving forward, whether they're okay in the world. And if that's you, we'd love you to stick around, keep listening, hit that subscribe button, and check us out for the next little while, because we are back and we're going to tell you where we've been for those of you who have been around for a while. And for those of you who might have just found us, we'll let you know a little bit about ourselves. So thanks for joining us. And if you don't know us already, I'm Natasha Lockie, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jenny Brandon. And I used to run a mountain bike business. I used to be a mountain bike coach. I'm still a mountain bike coach. I'm just not practicing a lot these days. I'm also a business owner. I've run 3 businesses, and I'm now managing a campground and just really working on what life looks like. Jenny is a animal communicator, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit about herself, and then we'll dive into our topic for the day.
Yeah, I am an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. And I work with pet owners who are struggling to understand what's going on with their pets and why they do the things they do. And I bring in a lot about the nervous system and body somatics and all sorts of things like that that help pull all of that together between what your pet is communicating and what's going on with you that might be unspoken. So love to hear from you. If you have pet questions, hit me up. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So I think for me, what I've always found is that sharing the things that I struggle with always seemed like the right way to go about teaching anyone how to mountain bike. If I stood up there and I pretended that I never got afraid and I never had things that were too much for me, that I didn't understand where my customers, my clients were coming from in their fear, that wasn't helpful. What was helpful was me basically sharing with them my tactics as to how I dealt with that every single day. Because for mountain biking, anybody who isn't battling their mental stuff on a moment by moment basis on a bicycle, it's lying.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the same in the horse world too, right? I used to tell people when we had somebody new in our barn who was going to do barn chores, I used to tell them every mistake you can think of, we've made. Wrong horse, wrong field, wrong horse, wrong stall, wrong horse, wrong blanket, wrong horse, wrong food, loose horses, everything you can think of, we've already done. like, we have already made those mistakes, lived through it, checked off the boxes, and kept moving. So I always felt like it was a way to let people know that, hey, things are gonna happen. No matter what you do, there's going to be bumps in the road. You're going to make a mistake somewhere along the way, and that's okay. I have to laugh because when I started working on the organic veggie farm, one of my first tasks was to wash eggs. And I was with the farm owner. We had a literal sink full of eggs, like several dozen eggs. And he's showing me how to gently scrub them down and then put them out on the counter to dry. And he broke one. And I was like, I am so glad that you did that the first day I'm watching you do anything, because it let me know, guess what? Eggs are going to break. There is not a thing you can do about breaking an egg when you're washing 10 dozen eggs. It will happen. You just throw it in the bucket and deal with it later. Throw it back to the chickens, quite frankly. But it's not a big deal, and it's very normal. And I feel like that's the piece of this that is important, is normalizing the struggle and normalizing the challenges that are faced both in the passions that we have as well as out in the business world and in the fitness world and health world and all those other places, because the lessons I've learned there apply everywhere else. And that's the bridge that I really want to make, and I want to make sure that we're finding ways to connect those dots because it makes life easier. That's the whole point of all of this, is making life easier.
Totally. And it's like the mom podcast that comes out, and the entire podcast is about the struggle of being a mom, and it's not about the perfection. And that's the type of information that becomes super popular, because everyone wants to just know that whatever they're doing, they're okay. We were talking about just before we popped on as well. It's like owning a pet. I'm pretty lucky. I have a pretty amazing dog, but there are times at 7:30 at night when he starts barking at me and he wants to go for a walk, and I just want to sit and enjoy the fact I just had dinner and I don't want to go for a walk. And I take him for a walk and he's still agitated, and then he's pouring at his food bowl, and I quite honestly don't have any more food to give him. And I want to scream because he's pushing all of my buttons.
Right.
And I don't know what to do. And I just want to curl up into bed, and I don't want to. We didn't go for a walk today because I haven't had time yet, or I haven't made the time to go because I didn't want to get out of bed early enough to take him for a walk. And sometimes, doing all the things in the right order at the right time is a challenge. And some of them we can drop, and some of them we can't. We can't not feed the baby. And to all of the parents out there, I just want to say, you're doing a good job. But what I will say on top of that is what I've noticed about people in the world is no matter what challenge somebody is given, they will generally find a way to push through. From the homeless person who is managing to deal with their life, they might have become a drug addict. They might be doing things that none of us even want to imagine doing, but they still manage to get up and keep going. Even if it is just having to find the next fix, they're still doing it. And I think that is the remarkable thing about human beings, is that we will push through a challenge, and we often don't think that. We look at others and we're like, I couldn't do that. The truth is you could. And if you had to, you would. Because we are built to be resilient.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is in this world we live in, some people choose to hold it all in because we don't want other people to see the cracks. So we go silent. We hide. Or we get loud about all the great things that are awesome, and we put our face on, and we go out into the world, and then we go and sit in our bed and cry, and it's like you just don't know what's real anymore. And I think in the face of that, it's time, for me, I just want to be honest. and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. The last couple of months have been, I don't want to say a lot because that's not true. It's been amazing. I've been in the moment, and by being in the moment, I've kind of like let everything fall apart. That's where I've been. How about you, Jenny?
And that's okay, right? 2 months ago, when you were about to start heading north again, we realized that things were going to get crazy. And so we both just said, all right, there's nothing we can do in this moment in order to sustain this. And trying to was going to be futile and drive both of us bananas because it wasn't going to work. So we just let it go. And the ironic thing is that about the time that you were starting to settle down, my life went into chaos, which is hilarious because y'all know me. I'm like same place every time, all the time. And I ended up with 2 back-to-back week-long trips with only 10 days in between. I'm actually in the middle right now. So the fact that we're recording anything right now is pretty remarkable, frankly. And for me to be able to pick up and leave twice for a full week with only 10 days in the middle is a lot. I have a lot of logistics that I have to juggle between the jobs that I do, between caring for my horses and the farm, and it's high summer, so we're mowing all the time, and the weather's been crazy, and it has just been a lot. And so we just let things be what they were for a while until we could sit down and have a conversation, and we both agreed we made a conscious choice that, yeah, we want to keep doing this. This is something that's important to us. We enjoy it and we like sharing these things together. And so I think it was a really beautiful way to move through a bit of upheaval and unpredictability in both of our lives and then make the decision. Again, the aware, conscious decision that, yeah, we do want to keep doing this. And this is something that we are in a position to be able to continue now. Is it going to look exactly like it did? I don't know. It may or it may not. But we're going to make that decision with awareness that we do get to choose. It doesn't have to look like it did. That's the cool part. We get to change things and we get to choose at this point. So we're at a bit of a crossroads that's kind of been brought on by some pretty big upheaval in both of our lives. None of it bad per se, just challenging, just a lot at a time. And so now we're able to just decide, what do we want to do from here? And I'm kind of enjoying being able to make that decision. That to me is about not getting stuck in the weeds. One of us could have gotten angry at the other for not being able to continue and not being able to get our shit together and do what we said we were going to do, which is an episode a week originally. But we didn't. We just knew that when we were able to come back, we would come back and see where we were at. And we could have gotten angry at each other, which would have probably ruined the relationship and the podcast at that point. Or we could have made a decision that we didn't want to do this anymore and just quit, because there was a little bit of time in our lives where there was too much going on. We could have just quit completely. We had a lot of choices we could have made. And I think that when you can actually look at all of those choices and choose intentionally which one you want to take and then feel good about it, that it's really freeing. And that's what keeps you from getting stuck in the weeds. That's what keeps you from getting totally bogged down and unable to make any decision at all.
Well, I think what's really interesting is when you look at your way of relating to the rest of the world. So when you see people in your lives making big decisions, getting married, maybe to someone who you don't think they should get married to, or getting divorced, or like to someone who you thought you've got the perfect life. What are you ruining it for? Or in my network marketing world, people kind of bop around and it looks unstable. I look at it and I'm like, how do you trust somebody who just decides that they're going to change what they're doing? What I've noticed is that I have stalled in my ability and my desire and my confidence to keep trying things because I'm judging other people for bopping around. And for me, I'm someone who always wants to understand why. Well, why did you do that? I remember when Eat, Pray, Love came out, and one of my girlfriends read the book and then started questioning whether, along with many, many people, then started questioning whether they should go and do that. And what's interesting is that knowing now what we know about the author of Eat, Pray, Love, and how the tell-all and all of the stuff and the behind the scenes, like we cannot look at another person and do anything than observe it like you're watching a TV show. Because they are a fictional character in a fictional world, because you have no idea what is really going on for anybody other than yourself. And what that does is we spend our time looking outward and judging other people and being like, oh, well, I don't want to be like that. Oh, I want to be like that. But yet we have absolutely no idea what being like that or not being like that actually is, because they're a fictional character in your movie.
Yeah.
You've made up the backstory. You've created the backstory because you don't know the real story, because they're not telling you. I don't even know what's really going on with my husband half the time, because unless he truly opens up to me and truly tells me what's going on, and at the same time, like the 4 agreements, even that's not real, because that's just what he thinks is going on. And so all that to say, we stop ourselves from doing anything meaningful a lot of the times, or making big changes, because we're not wanting to be judged in the same light that we're judging other people.
Yeah.
And we will never know. Even if you call the person up and you say, hey, why did you do that thing? They're probably not going to actually give you the full story, because it's not your story to be given.
And even if they do, you're still perceiving it from your own place in the world. So we can only know what we know for ourselves. And I think we have to just allow people to have an experience for themselves. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. It stops us from doing things a lot of times. I mean, again, we very easily could have just been like, well, crap, it's over because we missed a couple weeks, and just decided to tuck our tails and hide because we had dropped the ball for a few weeks, and oh my gosh, what are our followers going to think of? No one's going to listen to us again because we've been off the air for a couple weeks. We could have gone through all of that, but we don't need to, because none of that truly matters. It doesn't matter what happened. We can just start over again. We can just choose how we want to show up again. And I think that's the thing we forget, is that every day and every moment is an opportunity to do that. Just because you did something yesterday doesn't mean you have to do it the same way today. You can change. You can change whatever you want. You don't even have to eat breakfast food for breakfast. You could eat dinner food for breakfast. I mean, all these rules that we think we live with, they're all made up. No one really knows or cares, and you can choose to set your own rules the way you want to. And we don't give ourselves enough of that freedom. We don't give ourselves enough of that luxury to make those decisions anytime we want to. And so we just bumble through life being unconscious most of the time.
Yeah.
And then being judgmental about everything else we see, and being afraid of being judged about everything we do. And it's not a fun way to live. I'm really glad that we had this experience, because it was like, oh, hey, look, we can just drop this if we feel like it for a little while, if we need to, because we did. And then pick it back up when we're ready to pick it back up again. And it's fine. The world hasn't ended. Nothing has fallen apart. Everything's still where it was when we left. We're all good. We're all here, and we're gonna keep going now.
I think one of the things that we want to be aware of is alignment and frequency. And my journey over the past 2 months was really well. And even before that, I started working in this job, and it became all encompassing. And everything else that I was working on has kind of been moved around so that I could do this. And I'm so grateful I did that, because when we got here, I hit the ground running. And if I hadn't have done all that work previously, it would have been a disaster. Not necessarily for me, but for the organization, because we kind of got dropped in it and left. And the fact that I was able to just pick up and do what I was doing was great. But now I'm here, I'm getting settled, and I'm not somebody who is just okay with, I don't want to just be a campground host. I'm stoked I'm the manager, I'm getting to make more decisions, but I want more than that. And I want to build myself a legacy and an income and a way of making money that I can do from anywhere in the world. And so having other things going on while I'm doing this is really important. And also I have this overwhelming desire to share my gifts. But honesty right now, I'm not sure I even have any. I mean, what am I good for? I don't want to get online and just say the same things that everyone else is saying. I don't want to just start selling some product that's network marketing because someone said it's good. And there's a bazillion different products out there and they all are capable. We were talking about this before. It's like, do you need the thing? Do you need the special drink that's going to help you with your anxiety? No, you could do it on your own. And do you need the coach to be able to get in shape? Do you need to pay someone to tell you what to eat and when to work out and what to do? No, you could use ChatGPT. You could use Claude. Is that working for you? Maybe. Maybe not. And so in the world that we're in, maybe if we jump online and talk for half an hour and share some stuff, there are some people out there that want to listen. And if not, maybe we'll motivate ourselves and we'll keep ourselves engaged so that we keep moving forward in a way that's meaningful for us. And alignment and meaningful for us is actually all that really matters. There's this new product that I'm looking at selling that is based on frequencies. And my friend who started selling it is like, in this new stage, I believe that unless you're aligned, don't bother. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Because hustling in a direction that doesn't feel good is just feels like you're pushing shit uphill, because you really are. And no one's going to tell you that, because we're only half honest. And you kind of have to figure it out for yourself, and you have to do it for you. And if you're not doing it for you, then it doesn't matter. And to round this up, I'm going to say that we were on the road for 3 weeks. It was magical. We stayed in Lake Havasu. We went and tried to do some biking, but my bike was broken. And I keep having trouble with my bike, which is really quite fascinating in itself. I've never had trouble like this with my bikes, ever. My bikes have always just been great. But then every time I get on my bike, I'm like, oh, this is so good. I got to go biking 3 days in a row. And the other day we skipped out of work. 3 of us, we left one of our co-workers. There were 4 of us on shift and there wasn't much going on. And I was like, yeah, let's go for a bike ride. So 3 of us went off for a bike ride and it was so great. And I'm so happy to be back on my bicycle. And the entire time that we haven't been doing this podcast, I've been having a great time. Life has been amazing, except for there's this part of me that feels like I need to be doing something more. And I don't know what that is.
Well, I think we should dig into that at some other point, because there's also a piece, it's very culturally ingrained in us that we have to be productive. And so what does that mean? Why do we need to feel that way? But that's a conversation for another day. What I think you have really tapped into here, though, is that it's a both and when it comes to community and ourselves. right? That we absolutely need some kind of community and support. It can be AI if you are good with it and are working with it. That's cool. If it's working for you, roll with it, right? But we need each other. We need reminders. We need accountability. We need awareness. And we get that together. We don't get that in isolation from each other. But at the same time, there needs to be a certain amount of introspective work that we do so we know what our own voice is. We know what's in alignment for us. Those answers only come from within. And yes, you can try this person's workout, this person's bike course, this person's horse training or dog training or whatever. You can test it out. But ultimately, you're going to be the one that knows whether or not that works for you and whether or not that's in alignment. And I kind of believe that the goal is that as you go through life, you get faster and faster at figuring out what is in alignment and what isn't in alignment for you. I mean, I'm having that experience now where frequently I'll run across something somewhere and I'll just know, like, yes, I need to go take that course or that workshop. Or no, that doesn't work for me. You know, even if it sounds great, there'll be some little piece of me that's like, that's not really what you need right now. Don't do that right now. It may not be a no forever. It might just be that's not the right time right now for you. And so figuring out how to hear that voice and to understand it and what it sounds like for you, what it feels like for you, it's usually more of a felt sense somewhere in the body, is key. And also we need the community. We need each other. Like you said, even if we do nothing but get on here and talk for 30 minutes to motivate ourselves to do the things that we say we're going to do, I'm cool with that. I don't have a problem with that. I like you. I like talking together. I think it's fun. That's part of why we show up in the first place. But if we can help somebody along the way, damn, that makes it even better. That makes it an even more fun experience and an even richer experience to be able to help somebody along the way.
I think the last thing I kind of want to throw in here that you made me think of is it's really interesting because I've had several experiences in my life where I've gone to see an expert. I remember going to see the doctor and I was like, I'm really struggling with energy. I'm super low energy and I'm having a hard time. And she said, well, you need to stop drinking and you need to stop eating sugar and candy and junk food. And I looked at her and I was like, I don't drink and I don't eat gluten. I'll do some dark chocolate. But at this moment in time, that was where I was at. And she repeated it. She's like, oh, well, you know, when you get home from a bike ride and you have a couple of beer, you might not think too much about it, but that happens like every day. And I was like, you don't understand. Like, I don't remember the last time I had a drink. Like, I don't drink and I don't eat cookies. And like, that's not where I'm at. And she wasn't listening. And I was like, okay, like, you're cool. And so I walked out and my husband was in New Zealand at the time. I was by myself. I went to the liquor store. I bought myself a bottle of tequila, margarita mix, some ice. And then I went and got myself pizza and probably some sort of chocolate. And I went home and I got drunk and I ate some shitty food. And I tell you what, I felt so much better the next day. And I was like, you know what my problem was is I was so freaking uptight and so wound up in a knot that I just needed to relax. And I have done this several times in my life when I've gone to an expert and they've given me advice that is completely wrong because they weren't listening. I've literally gone and done the exact opposite of what they've told me to do. And I'm like, I feel so much better. Now, I'm not saying that I then continue to drink margaritas and eat bad food. But I was like, well, maybe if she's telling me to stop doing these things and I don't do them. Maybe I'll
Unfortunately, the answer is not always drinking margaritas and having pizza. Sadly.
And again, it's sadly, right? I wish that was always the answer. But it was within the energetics, right? The energetic of me doing that wasn't a, like, oh, I'm having a bad day, I'm going to go and do this. It was like, oh, well, maybe I need to let loose a little. Maybe I should stop being so damn uptight
Right.
about the fact that I don't drink anything and I eat so healthy and I do all these things. And I mean, I will say it kind of was a bit of a slippery slope, and then I got into a bit of a habit of loving to drink wine. And but then when I quit drinking again 3 years ago, I gained weight. I got more stressed out. Like sometimes you actually just need to relax, loosen up, and not take things so seriously. And
Seriously.
I've been in that state the last little bit as well, because I look at these reels that come up and like, if you want to be unrecognizable by summer, quit drinking sugary drinks, eating sugary cereals, and listing off like drinking coffee, 10 things that like never done in my life. And I'm like, well, what's my next choice? Because I've been doing that my whole life, and right now that ain't working for me. And so I'm like, again, well, maybe I need to lighten up a little bit. Maybe doing the opposite, because doing that's not actually working. Maybe it is a cortisol thing. So all that to say, like, check in with your alignment. This might get edited out, but it's like, how far is the carrot stuck up there? Are you just being so uptight? And because often you look at people who don't eat perfectly and they drink and they have a lot of fun and they're in great health and great shape, and you're over there trying to follow all the rules and it's not working for you. And that's the same for everything. You know, you're so uptight about your pet's behavior that the pet's acting out.
Yeah.
You're so uptight about like doing all the right things in your business strategy that your cortisol's going through the roof and you're not showing up authentically and it's not working. And when you kind of just relax a little bit, maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. But
maybe it doesn't need to.
Maybe it doesn't need to.
You know? Yeah.
I think
I love that.
So I don't know how that actually relates to our conversation we're having, but that's where I've been at a little bit, is being trying to find my pace. Because yes, my routine was good and I was getting shit done. I need to get back into a little bit more of that. But at the same time, what is really working for my team at the campground right now is they're absolutely loving the fact that I'm trying to make it really fun and very relaxed. And it's like, if everything's been done, I'm like, well, have you had your 2-hour break today? Like, have you gone and relaxed? What are you doing? You've been working too hard. Go take a break. And they're like, oh, okay. My boss is telling me off for doing too many things.
Yeah. I think that is where we often get stuck. And you're right, that can get in our way more than anything else. And I'm glad that we ended up with this weird break that neither one of us intended to take from the podcast, because I think it's giving us a chance to just reassess exactly what we want to do and how we want to do it and what it's going to look like. And I mean, I don't know of any area of my life that couldn't benefit from more fun.
Oh, absolutely. There's no point. If not fun, we're doing it
Why?
wrong.
Yeah. Why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it? The other thing I'm really noticing is like listening to the voice in my head. And right now everything's going really good and everything's fun. I picked up a piece of paper the other day and I discovered something and I got mad about it. I'm mad about a reality that could have happened that hasn't happened and isn't happening because the universe fixed it for me. But I'm like, are you kidding me? I would have quit my job if that had happened. I'm like, but it didn't. So why are you even giving it half a second of energetics? Because it got fixed for you well before it became a problem. But I'm like, So I don't have anything to be upset about, so I'm just being upset about something that didn't happen.
I
What, is,
mean,
what does that tell you
yeah.
about my personality type? Um,
Well, it's not your personality type, it's your habit,
it's my habit.
right? Like, that's the familiar bad feeling place that Laura Michelle talks about all the time. And you just noticed when it kicked in. And that is the work. That's the progress right there. And the fact that we were able to take 2 months off and both of us are like, oh well, we're going to get back at it. Like, that is the work. That's the work showing up. And I think that's the cool part about this whole experience is it's just given us a chance to be like, oh yeah, we do want to do this. This is something we're choosing to do. We're not doing it out of obligation to each other. We're not doing it because we think we should be doing this. We should be producing a podcast. We're doing it because it's fun. We help each other to be accountable and to get to the goals that we want to by staying present with them. We have fun and we share along the way, and the rest, whatever, however it works out is how it works out.
Yeah.
We can choose to put a little more intentionality into how we show up and how we market the podcast and produce the podcast. But those are all details that don't matter. The first choice is, are we having fun doing this? Is this still in alignment? And if those answers are yes, then all the rest of the details will take care of themselves.
So all that being said, I'm going to round us up by saying what we really wanted to come out here today to talk about was honesty, alignment, and how are you showing up? And are you showing up for the fun and excitement in your life? Are you judging other people for making the big moves that you're too scared to make? And therefore, what are you not doing that you could be doing in your life? So we only got one of them. And honestly, most of what you do will maybe, like, things feel like a big deal. And then you forget about them. Like, you look at all of these crazy controversies around pop stars and not the big ones right now, but like when songs were so outrageous and they make this big impact and everyone was so mad about Eminem, and now you're in the grocery store and you hear Eminem songs, right? And just extrapolate that thought out. And every time I hear an Eminem song, I giggle because I think, oh my gosh, this was so controversial when it came out. And what seems like a big deal, in whatever capacity, it is a big deal. You make a big decision that's going to impact other people, it's a big deal. But then it won't be anymore. And quite often, it will change the world for the better. Even when it's a bad decision, it will still change the world for the better because you'll teach other people not to do it that way. Or you won't.
Sometimes you're the example.
Exactly. And that could be for the good or for the bad. So thank you so much for being here. Please reach out to us and say hi. If you've been a listener for a long time and you're stoked that we're back, if you're a new listener and you like what we have to say, please subscribe. We'd love to have you around. And we will be doing our best to be moving forward with some sort of purpose, some sort of plan, because they say that's what we're supposed to do. And if we don't get that together, then we're just going to show up here and be brutally honest about all of the mistakes that we're making in life and how sometimes we are super, super stuck, and what we're doing to move through that with love, kindness, and some full-on humility. And we'll let you know how that's working out for us.
And some laughter along the way.
Exactly. So I'm Natasha Lockie, and I am currently just figuring out what I'm doing, but my biggest thing in life is get out of your own way and go have fun in life, whatever that looks like. And I've also got a mountain bike camp coming up in September. If you want to come to Hornby Island and hang out, I'm going to be doing a women's mountain biking coaching retreat getaway. So I'm restarting that, and then I'm setting up, I know I keep saying it, but that's going to kickstart me into my Baja retreat, which will be happening, I believe, in January. So working back towards where I started and back to where I want to be, because I know I have something to give to this world. Just want to figure out the vehicle and how I can actually do it. And you can find me as Natasha Lockie on Substack and Facebook, but I got to get myself back into social media as well.
Awesome. I am Jenny Brandon. I am an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. If you are struggling with your pet relationship or not understanding why they're doing the thing that they are doing, please feel free to reach out. You can find me on the web at soulpetconnections.com and on Substack, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube under the same handle. So we really appreciate you hanging on through this wild ride through the weeds today, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.
Have an amazing day, week, month. We'll see you soon.